What is going on in the crypto markets? We are about to talk about it specifically regarding what mining is doing with our special guest on Trader Talk, BritVR. Stay tuned. Let's do this. What is happening, Cryptosomniacs? How are you guys doing today? I am here with my guests. We have got the ever illustrious, whoops, wrong way. I'm all over here. Up in the top corner, frozen, we have Snay, and right above my shoulder here, we have BritVR, who is our special guest for Trader Talk today. Brit, do you want to take a moment and just kind of introduce yourself, talk about a little background, that kind of goodies?
Sure. My YouTube name is BritVR. My occupation, I am a geologist, but I love cryptocurrencies. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2014, and I've been doing videos since I'll say late to early 2015, and I go to tons of events in Chicago to see what's going on in the Ethereum world, the Bitcoin world, learning a lot of things about the CME, the CBOE, because those guys show up at the events a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I'm just enjoying everything that's in Chicago because it's a main hub for financial markets.
Yep.
And it's pretty big for cryptocurrencies.
That's cool. I didn't even think about how advantageous that would be to have CBOE and CME people right in your backyard to be able to get feedback about how they're feeling. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's also tons of lawyers who are going to a lot of these meetups, and they're getting some experience by learning from others like you guys and me, and they're giving us a lot of information of what their clients are wanting to know about the cryptocurrency space.
That's very cool. So how many kind of events do you think are happening there on a regular basis? I mean, Chicago's huge. So what's the frequency like? How often are events being held and things like that?
Well, there's basically two apps that's holding a lot of events. It's Eventbrite and Meetup. Usually, I would say 6 times out of the week, there's at least 1 or 2 events a day. And with Eventbrite, I'm not on there as much, but it's not as many as on the Meetup site. So, there's a lot of events.
Do you find the Eventbrite stuff ends up being better? Like, are you getting better quality events behind the pay gate?
I prefer the Meetup app because it's more genuine, and usually with the Eventbrites, they're trying to, get some cash out of you.
Yeah, sure. Those are like the entry-level event coordinator ticket sales platform. Actually, I shouldn't even say entry level. I've bought for all kinds of different conferences over time through Eventbrite.
Even meetup.com, to host an event, you still need to pay, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting that there's still no Meetup website that's free. Maybe somebody should decentralize that.
Yeah. So I had a couple specifically, so I'll just disclose none of us are really miners. I know you are a miner, so I wanted to get some of your thoughts specifically with the Consent and Opal hard fork utter failure that just happened. They put it on the testnet. Well, it failed on the testnet, I should say. But they ended up with it. What was it? 3 or 4 hard forks after they tried to install it. So just wanted to get your opinion as a miner. Do you think that is going to cause any further contention in the price of Ethereum, or do you think that perhaps the recent dip in Ethereum has anything to do with that Constantinople upgrade not coming off as swimmingly as they might have thought?
Well, first of all, nobody who's mining wants to update their software for that, because you're going to be helping Ethereum with bringing down the number of Ethereum coming each block. I think it's at 3 now, and with Constantinople it'll be at 2. Right. So why would anybody try to help the testnet for that? Especially as a miner. Now, people who are trading, and people who are holding Ethereum trading, they want the testnet to go through and everything like that, because that's going to bring up the profits. Less Ethereum on the market, more profits in your pocket. But overall, I think since GPU mining is slightly dead, the price of Ethereum should start to go up. ASICs are coming in, so the people who are GPU mining, they're getting off of the network, and I think they sold all their Ethereum to pay out the prices they need for their electric. I just think right now the hardcore GPU miners are mining, and the ASICs are just out there mining as much as possible. Also, they're going to be newer ASICs coming out for the Ethereum network, and I wouldn't buy one because they're trying to move to proof of stake soon. So,
right.
You know,
I was going to say, would they even be able to mine with the current hardware once it hard forks, or do they have to get an entirely new mining rig?
I think they'll be able to mine some other coins like Ethereum Classic, Pearl Coin, and some other music coins, some other coins out there. So it will be. I wouldn't buy it.
Wait, does that concern you that Ethereum's moving over to proof of stake? Like, is there a huge mining? I'm sure there's a lot of miners that are essentially going to be put out of business overnight, right?
Yes. With the proof of stake, it all depends on if how many Ethereum you need to stake. First of all, if you're a miner and you're holding, you want to know the balance of how much Ether you'll get for staking throughout a whole day. And it all depends on the inflation number of Ethereum. So the more Ethereum that comes out, since they haven't capped it, you know, it's going to take away some of those profits. So, you know, I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to lose a lot of people off of their network, and it's going to take away some security.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Interesting. Do you think Ethereum's going to be replaced by anything? Is there anything in the mining world that we should know about?
Yeah. Is there anything that's got as much of a use case with a better block reward or anything like that?
Well, since RSK is coming out with the sidechain for Bitcoin for Bitcoin ICOs,
you know, liquid?
If Bitcoin has ICOs, why do we need any other coins? You know,
that's true. That's true,
and that's kind of scary for the whole ecosystem of cryptocurrencies. So I think that's just a major player that's coming out right now. But you know, you have Neo out there. They are in Asia, which, you know, usually people in Asia like to own, not like to only, but they like to invest in the projects that's there. They don't really like to invest all their wealth into a project that's somewhere else. So, you know, you have Neo out there. Tron is getting really, really big. I like ArcCoin. They're going to have some smart contracts. It's proof of stake delegate.
Delegated proof of stake, yeah.
Yeah, delegated proof of stake. But, you know, I just think the big boy is Bitcoin with the ICO on the sidechain coming out soon.
Yeah, so Rootstock especially is definitely interesting. But is Rootstock also going to be enabled on the Lightning Network? Because I know Bitcoin can never, ever do anything of value with a smart contract with hour-long confirmation times, right? So the only way it'd be feasible is if Rootstock, which is RSK, is pretty much going to be hosted on the Lightning Network, right? And you know, there's a lot more Lightning Network payment gateways that are opening up these days as well. So that'll be definitely interesting to see. So what are you mining, man? What's your forte?
Well, I got rid of my GPU miners. Well, my GPU, I had 6 NVIDIA cards, and I have 2 Z9 minis. So I was mining Zcash, so I have about, I mined about maybe 3 Zcash within like, 3 weeks or something like that. And it was crazy, but you know the difficulty went up so quickly since they came out with the big boy, the Z9, and I had the Z9 Mini. But I've been on Nice Hash, getting as much
That's a cloud
Bitcoin.
mining thing, right?
Huh?
That's a cloud mining, Nice Hash?
Yes. Nice Hash, yes. So they pay you out in Bitcoin for using your hashing rate. And if you go to whattomine.com, they show you the different hash rates you can get with a certain miner you have. So they're paying more than I would make just mining Zcash per day. So
Oh, well, that kind of makes sense then. Why not?
yeah.
Interesting. So do you have a? I mean, nowadays, you know, with the market being down so much, what is your break-even point nowadays? Like, how many days does it take in terms of recovering electricity costs, and you know the cost of you buying mining equipment?
Well, my wife pays the electric bill in the house.
Interesting.
So I really don't have to worry about electricity. But with the miners I have, they're only 300 watts. So, you know, Bidmain has came up way further than what they were. The GPU rig I had like, I think I was producing like 1,200 watts a day. So, I mean, 1,200 watts a day. So I went from 1,200 watts to, I have two Z9 minis, and they're producing 300 apiece, so 600. So that's half in price of what I had. And in mining, I'm like producing like 5 to 6 times more. So when I had the 6 GPUs, I was mining around like 1,000 souls or 1,200 souls in Zcash. Now I'm mining 30,000 souls in Zcash with half the electricity usage. So right now it's around $15 a day, and they were, what were they, $800 a piece. So I just sold my GPUs and I got 2 new miners. The GPUs sold so quickly online, and that's something I'm going to miss. So let me see, I got a calculator. So 15 times what? Hold on, so 18. No, 800 divided by 15. So it's saying like 53 days to recover my money for 1 GPU. So,
Okay.
That's not bad, really.
Yeah. But so I'm sorry, I'm listening.
So what do you think about like Dash and Zcash? I don't know if Zcash has it, but I know Dash has those master nodes where you're able to utilize those master nodes. Are you concerned about that at all with Zcash as well? And especially, I wanted to ask about the taxation issue. So how do your taxes work?
That is a great question.
Is it taxed like a? Yeah, is it taxed like? I don't even know what to compare it to. How is it taxed?
So from the lawyers and from what I paid, it's just what is it called? And stocks where you get your profits, I can't remember the exact term, but it's something gain. Whatever you gain, that's what you right now.
Capital gains.
Oh, capital gains.
Yeah. Yes, that's whatever you gain. That's what you're paying off. And cryptocurrencies, it's kind of weird because cryptocurrencies in the United States is supposed to be taxed as property. So
they can't seem to get that straight is unfortunately the problem.
Yeah,
It used to be.
they want to get their gains, but it's property. It's very weird.
It's always a confusing thing to me, right? Because I know just specifically as a trader that my cost basis is what matters, right? So it's first in, first out, and then if I bought an ETH at the top, let's say at 1,200, and then I just sold it, at 200, then I can take that, I can write that loss. That's a realized loss, so that goes against what I'd have to pay on the other capital gains. But then I do know that specifically when trading, it also matters what the cost of the currency is at the time of the trade, and then also every time you trade between you know, if I trade from Ethereum to Bitcoin, taxable transaction. Ethereum back to Bitcoin back to Ethereum, taxable transaction. It wasn't like that for 2017. They changed that for 2018. So that would be something else I'd be concerned with. You know, like say for instance, you got your block reward today for mining some Ethereum. Do they? I mean, I suppose then the acquisition price would be whatever at the time of the block reward, that's what you'd be paying taxes on. Like that would be occasionally like, or effectively like, you got the block reward. It'd be just like I bought an Ethereum at this price, right? Is that accurate?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Is that a nightmare to keep track of? Because like, what if you're not home when you get the block reward?
Well, it's kind of difficult to get one full block reward, but you know, we're using mining and mining pools, so we're getting like a percentage of what your power is. Mm-hmm. And when I do my taxes, I just go to my tax lady and we tax it of whatever I'm taking out. So if I keep it in my wallet, I'm not paying taxes on it until I take it out and put it to fiat cash.
Interesting.
So quick question. So if I started a mining operation business, okay, I took out a loan, I bought mining equipment, and then I started mining, and then I realized, hey, I'm not profitable. So those digital assets, are they up for forfeiture? I don't even know how to say the word.
Forfeiture.
Do you have to? Yeah. Do you have to forfeit? Do you have to forfeit your digital assets based on what you owe to the bank? Will the bank even accept that? And how do they even hold custody of that? Do banks even know how to hold custody of crypto assets? And who's the auditing procedure behind that? It's just so confusing to me. You know, will they even give out loans to people who want to start mining operations? What's your opinion on that, man?
I don't think any bank wants to deal with anything in cryptocurrencies. That's why, with the confusing tax laws and everything, that's why a lot of people didn't pay any of their taxes. And you got to think about this. When the government did go out to Coinbase, and they did receive the information they want, but when they went after them, I think a judge stopped them and said, hey, you can't go to every bank and ask for all the records like that. Well, sorry, you can, but they don't do that. They don't go to your bank and ask your bank how much money you're taking out. So I'm just thinking it's just all messed up, and the government really is not going to go out to too many people in cryptocurrency, especially with the market cap and everything. They're worried about trillions of dollars being stolen out of their economy from something else.
Yeah. So are you mining as an individual or an LLC? That's actually a pretty good question.
Yeah, individual just mining at my house.
Do you just like Schedule C that then? If you are okay to disclose that information.
Say it again.
Schedule C, so since you're just mining as an individual, that would be like having an independent contractor job. Sorry, I came out of payroll, so that when you're claiming it on your taxes, it is a Schedule C, since you're not claiming it against an LLC, whatever the gains that you're making is basically.
I fully don't understand the technology. I just go to my tax lady and I say this is what I took out, because you can track that easily.
Right. Okay. So we got DB wants to know, what coins are you mining? They just flat out ask, what are you mining right now? So you said Dash, you were mining. Is that still what you're?
Well, I'm using NiceHash, and they're paying me out in Bitcoin.
So the answer to that question, DB, is he's mining whatever the hash power of his machines will hash, because he's part of a mining pool and he's being paid out in Bitcoin. That's actually pretty cool. I never knew about those mining pools. I always see guys talking about it, and I'm always like, I don't
know. And I think I have a really good question. I think it's on everyone's mind. What do you think about Bidmain, man, and their IPO and the dominance that they have in their market? Are you worried for Bitcoin at
all? Not really. Well, there are so many other companies, like you got IBM and Silicon, ASIC Miner, StrongView, I think Baker, MicroBT. You have so many other companies that have miners out there, and it's getting so competitive right now. The first company in the U.S. is IBM, so they're really working on trying to get into the game, and I'm really not worried about them doing too much. Now, having all that money from an IPO, they're going to they're actually moving into the United States right now to set up some things, and I think it's in Houston, Texas. I know they're going to be in Texas. So it's actually going to create jobs for the U.S. Wow. It's going to about 500 jobs, I think. I was reading an article, and it's going to make the miners a lot more accessible to people in the U.S. because we have to go through all that tariff stuff when the miners are sent over. Right now, some guy, he was on YouTube. I guess he bought I think he bought like 15 miners, and he had to pay like $5,000 in tariffs. Woo. So, I think it's just gonna make it a little more accessible to us here. But there's gonna be so many more players in the game that I don't think they're gonna take over everything.
They already own pretty close to 50% of the mining power, though. So let's hope that some of these other organizations or some new organizations either get involved, because that's ultimately when 51% of the mining power is in one organization's hand, that eliminates decentralization and causes a huge problem for this network.
I think it makes sense because Texas is it's first of all pretty cheap on taxes comparatively to where we live in California, and the energy cost is super low. And the tariffs you talked about, I just read this article about Ford. They're laying off a bunch of people because all the steel and aluminum tariffs that they're importing from China and Canada. So I don't know what's going to happen, especially with all those mining equipments. I mean, technically it's a technical asset, right? A technology asset. So it's still going to be tariffed under Donald Trump's new laws. I don't know what he's doing, but let's not get into that.
Yeah, we don't need to make a political rant.
All right, so now let's get to the good stuff. What do you think mining, or what's going to happen with Bidmain IPO and the halvening in 2020 to the price? What do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin? What have you seen? For example, monitoring the hash rates and the difficulty. What usually happens? What's the correlation with the price and the hash rates and the difficulty bombs?
Every time we have an halving, the price goes up. There's so many Bitcoin that's lost right now, so just going to make it more scarce, especially with back coming out. And I think the second quarter of 2019, they're going to have to buy up a lot of Bitcoin to be able to put this stuff in a warehouse. They're even going to have Bitcoin futures, I heard. So Bitcoin futures, which they're going to be backed by Bitcoin. So mining, I think mining is going to lose. I can't say that. It all depends on the Lightning Network. I did purchase a Casa Lightning node that just recently came out. It has it's going to be synced with a Bitcoin node on it of the blockchain, and it's going to have an interface for the Lightning Network. So I'll be able to hook it up to any hub that I want to, and put some Bitcoin on it, and let transactions go through on the sidechain. So I think that's going to slightly replace mining a little bit, but that won't be until maybe like 10 to 15 more years down the line.
Wow.
You think people will mine specifically to load Lightning Network accounts?
Yes.
That's an interesting.
Yes.
I never really even thought about that possibility. I've always just been like, why would you want to lock up your Bitcoin just so I can, if both of us want to put a Bitcoin on the table so that we can transact back and forth on it. You got to see about scary to me.
I was going to say, when back comes in and buy up crypto, institutional investors have billions of dollars. So they're going to have to buy billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. That's a lot of Bitcoin that's going to be coming out the market. And I don't even know where they're gonna buy their Bitcoin from, because they're not gonna go to like a BitMEX or something like that and buy it. And BitMEX has a lot of.
Oh yeah, it'll have to be an OTC deal.
Gonna buy it from.
Yeah,
they'll go OTC.
Yeah, they'll have to go OTC. They don't want to get eaten up in slippage trying to make that kind of a trade order on an exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's a question I wish I can find out.
What I would say is shout out to Icon, FZJ80, and JZ Drift, and Bernadette. What's happening to all of you watching? Thanks, longtime fans. Great to see you guys.
So, also, I know that Bidmain is coming out with a new miner.
Yeah.
These mining companies are moving from, I think, 14 nanometers? It's 14 NM to 7 NM. So the technology that they're having, they're making these chips smaller and smaller and smaller. So, it could be a breakthrough from a new miner to come out that would be like 100 terahashes one day, very easily. But they need money from that. I don't even know what type of like infrastructure you need for something like that, because I know all robots make that stuff. So that's incredible how tiny these chips are getting.
Yeah. Well, so are you concerned even the slightest bit about quantum computing just completely dismantling SHA 256 and all these different hashing algorithms that aren't quantum resistant?
That's a good question. I think quantum computing is not there yet. The only people who are going to be able to have it really is going to be, like MIT or Russia with their supercomputers.
Well, I was going to say that's still a problem if the Department of Defense can suddenly crack the entire blockchain, and it eliminates some of the advantages to the system. Certainly.
Yeah, actually, there's a good comment under, not to change the subject, but there's a good comment under, that somebody left, Christopher left. Fidelity just announced their big announcement. I don't know if anyone saw that Bloomberg Crypto Live Talk. Goldman Sachs, BNY Mellon was there. Yeah. And they just announced that they're going to be offering cryptocurrency assets for investment, and they have over $2.5 trillion under assets under management. So it'll be very interesting to see. And as much as I'd like to look at the market, the traditional market, and say, hey, there's a negative correlation between the stock market and crypto assets, it's just not the case. We see drops in the stock market, we see drops in the crypto market. I'm wondering how this is all going to play out in the future. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think due to Bitcoin has a just what's the word I'm looking for? Since there's no shares where you can fractionize it, that's going to destroy the financial market that we have right now. Bitcoin.
Why is that they haven't fractionized being able to invest in stock yet? That's crazy that no one has.
I mean, there's projects out there like Swarm Fund and Polymath that's trying to do that, and obviously Bakkt is trying to do that. They're trying to tokenize assets and then fractionalize it. So hopefully that all comes to fruition. It is pretty sad that I still can't go on and buy half an Apple stock. I don't, or half an Amazon stock. I don't. Most people don't have $1,000 to buy a single Amazon stock, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they might have some money they want to get into the market with, and they want to invest it in something that they believe in. That's the thing that's crazy to me is I can go buy $20 worth of Bitcoin right now if I want, but I can't go buy $20 worth of Apple stock or Amazon.
But I mean, you could if you're like a financial advisor or a fund manager, where you could create an index or a spider fund, and you're able to do that. But the weird thing about the United States government is they want to quote unquote protect people from all this financial manipulation, but they're not doing a very good job at it. I mean, they're just hindering people from making money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's essentially what's happening. They're hindering people from taking these risks that they're entitled to take under the guise of consumer protection.
Well, it's hilarious. They talk about a lot of things. If they really were worried about consumer protections, we wouldn't have legal alcohol or tobacco. But they're perfectly, you can smoke as many cigarettes as you want and drink yourself to death, and they're perfectly fine with that. Because
it's America.
You're an adult and you're choosing to spend your money, but heaven forbid you choose to invest your money into a risky asset. I don't understand where the thinking is that separates those two things.
But think about it this way, this is how regulated stocks are. You cannot go into a gas station and ask for a single cigarette. They actually banned that because of consumer protection, right?
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
They used to call them Lucy's. Right?
Yeah. Loose squares.
Yeah. But the same thing is they're treating stocks just like cigarettes. You cannot go in and ask 1/20th of an Apple stock, right? And it's it's kind of concerning to me that the United States government won't let people, average Joes, non-accredited investors, get into the financial independence game, really.
Bill Guerra just said they'll let anyone buy $1,000 in lottery tickets, but not $1,000 in an IPO. Spot on.
I just bought a lottery ticket, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Talk about speculation, right?
So, what do you guys think about right now with that journalist going to miss? The journalist is missing in Saudi. What do you think that if they find out that Saudi Arabia did do that? What do you think is going to happen to the stock market?
Nothing.
It's going to plummet.
No.
Plummet hard.
No, man. Nothing's going to happen.
Why do you think it's going to dip? Why? I'm actually not. I'm not going to pretend I'm informed on this issue. I don't even know what you're talking about.
So there's a Saudi Arabia journalist that was killed under interrogation. I think that's what happened, right?
Here in America?
No, in Saudi
Turkey.
Arabia.
No, he was killed in Turkey.
All right, Saudi journalist.
No, he was Turkish.
In a Turkey. No. He's Saudi Arabian descent. He was born there. He's a journalist from Saudi Arabia. He was at the Saudi consulate in Turkey, and a Saudi Arabian plane, which was a diplomatic plane, came in with 3 guys, and they were actually at the same hotel with the journalist, and they were, again, supposedly Saudi Arabia said that they were supposed to interrogate him, but they botched it, quote unquote botched, and they killed him.
Oh.
So again, my opinion is this has nothing to do with the stock market whatsoever. The stock market is already in a correction mode, which we in the Cryptosomniac community called it like literally 12 days before today, so September 30th or something. And that's because, our technical analysis was basically saying that we are due for a pullback because we're overextended. So I don't know if you can attribute some Saudi journalist, impacting the stock market.
But you can attribute tariffs and certain country regulations like, hey, we're not going to trade with this country anymore, or the threat of that.
So we got some feedback.
FUD is just as real. FUD is just as real in the stock market as it is in the crypto markets. So
I was going to say, Trump was just talking about there was an arms trade that was going on. Well, it was going to be going on for like $130 billion. And, if they find out, I guess, did the journalist work for the Wall Street Journal or something like that?
So this is
feedback in the I think he's from
FCJ 80 said he was in Turkey. It's a U.S. resident.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a what?
He might be a Saudi citizen, but he was a U.S. resident, and he's been in Turkey. This is the feedback I'm getting from one of our people in the.
I think he I think he had previously worked for Al Jazeera, which is I think it's like funded by Qatar.
Yeah.
They were saying his family is in the U.S. though. I remember that.
I'm sorry.
They were saying his family was in the U.S., so I remember that.
Okay, gotcha.
So we Phil O'Regan says Trump has already agreed to not stop selling arms to the Saudis. Shocker of all shockers.
Yeah, because
shout out to the SO to the U.S. money is more important than violating human rights and murder, says Phil O'Regan. Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, I don't think anybody is under any illusions that capitalist greed values dollars over lives. Right? I mean, do any of us think that that's not the case? Because look at the world, right?
Yeah, seriously.
I have another thought about that. Now,
okay.
Turkey said they had the information, like they had video and audio on it. Now, if this goes public, there's already congressmen out there that's like really going against what's going on. I was listening to CNBC and they was talking about $200 oil prices because if we don't have the arms deal with them and Saudi gets mad at us, they can drop 3 million barrels if they want and not send it to the U.S. And oil prices will skyrocket in the U.S. So oil prices go up in the U.S. A lot of bad things happen around here.
Well, I'll tell you guys something. I actually traded commodities for a little while in 2013 and 14. We were actually one of the largest producer. I think at one point we were actually #1 production in oil, United States, that is. So
oil or natural gases?
Oil. I'm pretty certain. I actually bought an oil contract, so I'm pretty certain about that.
Okay.
So anyway, what I'm trying to say is Saudi Arabia in no way shifts our economy in such a way, in such an adverse way, that it would start impacting our stock markets, pretty adversely. It just won't. Yeah, you might see an exacerbation in the current downturn that we're already seeing, but it doesn't start market reversals. Like, we've been seeing the China tariffs being implemented for the last few months, literally since last year, but the stock market has been on a tear, right? Yeah. And it's only recently being corrected. Again, this is a correction. This has, nothing to do with a significant, bear market starting. So that's all.
But what I'm concerned about is Saudi Arabia is part of OPEC, right? Which is, I think it's countries. I think it's Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and there's one more.
Great. Well, just buy oil from Venezuela. They're fucking broke anyway.
But they're all under agreement. They're all under agreement. So if you tariff one, they all suffer the same fate, and they're able to dump the market way more drastic.
You don't think that Venezuela, the way it's bleeding, they'd be like, fuck OPEC, we're just going to sell directly to the U.S.
Yeah, that's probably.
I mean, if they do that, they'll be hurting the entire pact that they've made.
Fantastic.
Maybe we should just all be trading the petro, right?
All I'm thinking, the way I see it is in no way, shape, or form do I see the United States losing in this, somewhat of a garbage battle with Saudi Arabia. One, we're, supplying them arms, right? First of all, Trump is right. I mean, he's not going to shift any part of our arms deal because of some journalist that died, because as he claims, it will ultimately hurt the United States more. In a sense, he's right, because it is a $100 billion deal. But yeah, I mean, a fucking journalist got killed.
First of all, any assumption you can make about Trump is just you have to throw out the window, because he'll put sanctions and tariffs on our neighbors, Canada, Mexico, China, our largest trade partner. So what he'll do with Saudi Arabia, it's kind of like a coin flip.
See, here's the thing, right? In Trump's mind, and yes, I totally agree with you, but in Trump's mind, he already thinks that he's winning if he keeps his deal in place. So it's almost beneficial for him to keep the deal going. With Canada and Mexico, he had already thought and had made up his mind that we were losing, whether in NAFTA or on trade agreements. So it's kind of a little different, right? Because he doesn't want to lose $100 billion in jobs or defense contracts.
And the U.S. really needs that money due to they slash taxes for corporate companies.
Sure he does, man.
And China is selling all the bonds right now. They sold a lot of bonds.
China owns a decent amount of American Treasury bonds, and they hold a lot of our debt. But think about it. Even when you think that one fucking $100 billion contract was bad, like we've been, going back and forth with China for the last year, and the stock market has still been just ripping, all-time highs.
True.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And right now, whether you want to believe it or not, the dollar is completely pegged to the world economy. I
was gonna say I think it's vice versa.
The world economy is pegged to the dollar, right? Or yeah, you know what I mean. The dollar.
Yes.
If the dollar fails, the world fails, pretty much, right? I don't think something like a human rights violation is going to do anything against Trump. I don't think he gives a shit about any sort of human rights violation.
That's all I'm saying.
He doesn't care about people. I mean, he's shown that time and time again.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree, but
especially if the guy was not a white guy. Like, let's just be honest. The guy, he's a Saudi. Trump was probably like, eh.
Hey, Jason, you're the resident white guy. You can say what you want, all right?
I mean, I tried to say it nicely. I tried not to be shitty about it.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's right. Human rights violations, are one thing, but I don't think, especially somebody like Turkey, who has tried to apply for the EU multiple times and been denied multiple times, and Saudi Arabia, which is, barely in the UN. I don't even think, are they a UN member? I don't even know.
I think they are.
They are a UN member? Okay. And they allowed women to drive in 2018. So I don't think they give a shit about human rights either. So, I honestly don't think it's going to impact too much, but we'll see. I mean, the market reacts very, very weird, very, very, very weird. And I kind of want to segue this to our market reaction that happened last night with Tether. Yeah, with
last
Tether.
Night I was asleep. I'm not going to pretend I was awake for it, but
yeah, I tried to wake you up. There's some good opportunities there.
Yeah, I woke up with like 7 texts from Sneh that's like, dude, get up, adjust your stop loss.
Yeah,
I was very surprised. I woke up this morning and I looked at my Blockfolio, and the price was at 6,400, and I had no clue that it hit 66 when
it almost got
69.
No, it almost it went all the way. It almost went to $8,000 on the candle. If I'm not, hold on, maybe I'm tripping on that.
Yeah, depending on which exchange you're on.
Yeah,
on the Tether exchanges. So places like Coinbase. Not Coinbase. It did not hit. It was not very high. I think the highest it went was 6,700 on Coinbase. But Tether hit 85 cents. Okay. True USD hit $1.20. Pax was trading at $1.15. So there's huge price differentials for massive premiums. Like in Bitfinex, it was $1,000 premium on Bitfinex. And
it was even more than that, man. There was a time when it was trading for like 6,300 on Coinbase, and it was like 6,900 on Finex.
Well, this morning, yes.
And one of the few exchanges that I blew my I was so happy that I had some money there was Kraken, because they have Tether and they have the dollar, so you're able to do quick arbitrage positions. It was pretty great,
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, to go along with that point. I woke up in the morning and I saw all these Twitter comments and comments in Discord and stuff, and I looked at the charts and I was like, okay, it just looks like fucking Tether imploded. Great. I mean, this is good for Bitcoin for now. That's really all that.
Do we not know that was coming? When they wouldn't let an auditor in, did we not say this was so fucking
We
obvious.
literally said this like 4 months ago.
I've been saying I don't trust Tether ever since they kicked the auditor out. I'm like, I don't trust it. I'm not holding it. I can't do it. And looks like the piper finally came to collect his due for the dance.
Seriously, man. There's actually, so I live in Austin, Texas, and John Griffin, the person who wrote the paper called Untethered, which, you know, is the paper that broke the news about, you know, how Tether was actually one of the main factors for the entire run-up in 2017, as well as the main factor of traders using counter trading, you know, the BitMEX, what's it called, retail traders, and BitMEX itself and exchanges themselves counter trading their own fucking you know, traders, right? So it's like, you already know that Tether is not trustworthy because, one, they've manipulated the market significantly. Two, they have not allowed a proper auditing service to actually follow their entire protocol.
Ever.
And you know for sure that they do not have a one-to-one, you know, US dollar backing in their reserve.
There's no chance. There's just no chance.
And I believe
not with the rate that they print money. I mean, they print money every time the Tether printer decides to kick in. It's never a small sum.
Seriously, Snay, you were saying?
Apparently, Puerto Rico's Noble Bank is pretty much insolvent now. They're looking to sell, and that's where Tether is hosting all their funds. So they're trying to find a new bank as we speak. It is a shit show in Tether, and if you guys haven't cashed out of Tether or you know, put your money on an actual fiat exchange, I would highly recommend you do so.
Yeah.
There are things like PAX, which is well, I don't even know what PAX stands for, but CZ of Binance, the CEO of Binance, has been shilling it to me all day.
PAX, GUSD, TUSD.
Yeah.
You know, those are all your actual like stable coins. I would far more trust, you know, the Gemini US dollar or the True USD token than Tether.
Yeah.
Right.
What about, are you going to trust the Circle coin?
Dude, you know, if it's Goldman Sachs backed, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think, I don't know if anyone saw, everyone should go check that out. Bloomberg Crypto, they hosted a live event. The CIO of Goldman Sachs was there, and they just hired a bunch of blockchain engineers just to research about crypto as they get more and more involved into the space. I would highly recommend anyone watching that, but you'd think that all these Wall Street guys don't know shit. Man, they're so technologically savvy. They know exactly what's going on, how it's going on, what's going on with Tether, what's going to happen in the halvening in 2020, what's happening with these exchanges and the regulatory impact that they're having. I think it's remarkable, man. I think it's remarkable what Circle, Circle, Coinbase, Kraken, and Gemini are going to be able to do in the upcoming future. I think it's it's only going to get bigger and bigger in time.
Yeah, for sure, man. You know, and another thing is, I think this whole crypto Twitter fad and all these, you know, so-called experts in the field that are popping up out of nowhere, they underestimate the amount of resources, expertise, and money that is backing some of these exchanges, right? And especially the money behind the exchanges itself, which is the real smart money, right? I mean, you don't think that Goldman Sachs has not had direct conversations with, you know, people from Coinbase? Like, are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure they're on their fucking, like, you know, favorites list. So here's the thing, right? Like, you should already assume that these people know far more than you. They're way ahead of the curve already. And for the most part, I mean, they will dictate when the bear market ends and when the new bull market starts. You just need to at least wait for confirmation and realize that, okay, for now, you just need to sit back and, you know, preserve your capital. As we've always said, #1 rule.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. This week actually just came out as well. Coinbase is stopping their index fund.
Oh yeah, they killed it.
Because why would you put out an index fund when there are traders that are so much more sophisticated that would actually invest into it? They have an institutional index fund. Why not just have a managed fund for a trader that are just so much more sophisticated and have access to hundreds of more assets than the 4 that Coinbase offers? You know,
6 now.
Yeah, it's this space is getting so sophisticated that I'm just having a hard time keeping up. You know, if I want to be called a quote unquote expert. You know.
Yeah. I don't think any of us are. See, none of us. Here's the thing that I like about us, right? Like, none of us are claiming to be experts. We at least can humble ourselves and be like, you know what? I've got shit to learn. The fact that Snay has, put on his Twitter like, hey, I'm watching this today, lets you know that, okay, he's got something to learn. Same with me. I mean, we're all trying to improve and learn by the day.
Yep, definitely. So going back to mining, here's a question I have for you specifically, Britt. Do you think the miners are propping up the price of the market this year, since we've basically hit the same floor every time it drops? I mean, it basically finds the bottom, bounces back up, then bounces. So do you think miners are propping up the the 5,800 to 6K floor on Bitcoin, and I'm going to call it the $190 floor on Ethereum, or what is it, 160? Amal, is that our low for the year? 160?
Yeah, 167 on Coinbase, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, do you think, Britt, because you know what it's like to, I would assume you have an idea of what kind of energy costs it's taking to get a block reward for a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, etc. Do you think that the miners have been propping up the price?
No, not at all. I think it sucks to be a miner right now with the prices. So actually, the prices are not low, because when I got in 2014, prices was low. Yeah. Prices are where they need to be at right now. But I think it's just the traders. I think it's traders. I think it's people on BitMEX, all that money flowing in and out. I think it's every exchange that you don't have to have like a KYC on. Yeah. Every exchange that you don't, people are black marketing things right now. So that's what I believe it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing almost all-time highs for hash rates of Bitcoin. So I don't think mining has died down whatsoever, but we'll see how everything plays out in the long term.
Here's another question. How long do you think miners continue to operate at a negative just to keep the network alive because they believe in it? That's a question. I don't know that you would directly have the answer to that, Britt, but just for any of you guys, it's like we could all speculate on this. I mean, realistically, how long do you think they'll operate at a loss if it continues to go down?
I want to chime in after Britt, but go ahead, Britt.
I'm thinking. Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's not about losing their profits. I think it's just what is the geopolitical proposition at the time. Are governments allowing this to form cryptocurrencies? Are governments going to tell you to, this is going to be dead? If you see a future for it, you're going to just mine until, just keep mining for the exchange of electricity.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So what I wanted to mention is, okay, there is a reason why the average span of a bear market, okay, and if you can look, historically, you can look on the Bolkowski site that I've put up in the Cryptosomniac channel multiple times. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why bear markets last between 12 to 18 months. And I'll tell you why. 12 to 18 months is it's a strong psychological barrier of a time to bore people to death, make them feel pain, and kick them out of the market.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah. This is the perfect amount of time. Can you handle pain and losses, financial losses, for 18 months? Majority of people cannot. right? And you can see this happen in the stock market. You can see this happen in any particular asset that has felt the pain of a significant bear market. And here's the thing, crypto itself, you can actually look at historical cycles of crypto too. 2014 and 15, the bear market, the actual bear market was probably around 18 to 24 months, right? About 2 years.
Yep.
The one before that, around 2011, was probably like 6 to 12 months, if I'm not mistaken. The stock market in 2007 or 8 actually started to move back up for its reversal cycle. Same amount of time. I think that one was somewhere between 16 to 28 months. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say is that, those 4 points of people being at a loss, right? Yeah. Being bored to death, people finally, capitulating, giving into the asset itself, being like, fuck this. I don't want to touch crypto or Bitcoin ever, And that's what I'm saying. Like
that happened to a lot of my friends in January.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm saying. That this is where the time right now and for the next 6 to 9 months, this is where the real money is made for those who stick it out. And that's why I keep telling people in our community is if you can grind it out for another few months, I promise you will get far better returns and you will have the mental fortitude to deal with any fucking bear market. Because I've experienced the 2008 and 2009 drawdown in the market, but I was just starting off as a trader. And so to me, I was basically down, the $100 that I fucking had invested anyway, and my dad's money, right? And so I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, this is what it feels like to be pummeled down, 40, 50%. But people in crypto have already been dealing with 80, 90% losses, right? So if you really believe in the market, are you going to double down or are you just going to, take it up the butt and just walk away?
I 100% agree with you, man. I could not agree with you more. I think right now what's happening is a psychological breakdown of the mental fortitude of the mass public right now. It's just like, hey, let's try to get this coin as low as possible. Let's hit support after support after support. Let's never get over 7,000. We may not even get over 7,000 in 2018. That's a total possibility.
That's for sure.
That's a total possibility. And these psychological levels and the psychology behind trading, I 100% agree with. And that's why you see all this whole number psychology playing out as well. Why is 7,000 such a big resistance? Why is 6,000 such a big support? Why are these whole numbers supports and resistances and why is the market pandering to those? Why are there support walls? Why are people and we know a lot of these things are bot tradings, but why are a lot of these order books still being set for this whole number psychology, and why are we seeing so much more downward pressure? And I completely agree with you. This is going to be a torturous next 6 to 9 months.
Yeah. And just to add to that, man, the fact that I also see so many more people who like perma bullish tells me that there's definitely more downside. Because when these people, these idiots in the market on crypto Twitter who keep talking about this being the end, there was some guy on Twitter who people evangelize, I think his name is Angelo BTC or something, right? I never heard of this guy. Apparently he's a really good trader on BitMEX and he's made a significant amount of BTC. Good, that's great for him. But there's no way that this dude is able to predict tops and bottoms for markets because none of us can. The only people who do are the ones who probably aren't on fucking Twitter listening to you, right? So here's the thing, right? When people like that are still bullish and they're still calling for, hey, this is the chance for you to get into Bitcoin at 6,000. You'll never have this chance again because we're going to start taking off. I'm like, yeah, because of you, people like you, we're definitely going down.
And yeah, wow.
Well,
yeah,
think about it. The traders, the whales, if you go with the collusion theory that you've talked about a while, if they can see that, they're just like, it's fish in a barrel. Look, there's more idiots lining up to give us their money, right?
Yep.
Now's the bottom. Well, and so with that being said, do you think it's safe to dollar cost average in at this point?
I mean, when it comes to certain alts, I think being the fact that I'm buying at an 80 to 90% discount, I think so. But again, here's the thing, right? I'm not throwing in 50, 70, 90% of my capital. I'll probably risk 2% right now at the cost for the things that we've mentioned in our channel, right? Yep. I talk about dollar cost averaging in ZIL. I'm not throwing like $10,000. I might throw like $100, $200,
Yeah, and especially coming from me, I stopped mining in 2012. Bitcoin mining in 2012 completely stopped. It was no longer profitable for my shitty equipment, right? But I made a significant amount of Bitcoin, and I'm constantly buying and selling 20 to 30% of my portfolio to accumulate more Bitcoin. That's my end goal, to accumulate more Bitcoin.
There you go.
And one thing that I've noticed in this space, especially for the early guys like me, is, and I say early guys, even though 2012 is only 6 years ago, it's really ideological believers in cryptocurrencies. They're not selling. I'm not selling a majority of my crypto assets until it's over $50,000.
Yeah.
And it's a huge amount of, especially of these early tech evangelists. They're really ideological. They like what Bitcoin believes. They like the freedom of cash. They like the separation between government and everything else. And Snay is running a meth lab out of his kitchen. I'm not.
I was laughing at these. Okay. Dude, Kenobi's been chopping you up for the whole stream, bro.
This is an hourglass, all right? And this is a steel salad bowl, okay? These are not method.
Yeah, for the record, that is my salad bowl.
Yeah.
I eat salads every day.
And I don't. That's why I'm chubby.
Oh man.
I just went over how many miners are like profitable, and there are 12 miners on ASICminervalue.com. 12 miners that are making $5 or more. So those miners are all ASIC miners. Usually, a lot of people can't buy ASIC miners because they're overly priced. So with the hash rate, you saying it was at the all-time high. I just think it's just due to the technology of different miners. I don't think it's just more people mining. It's just the technology of miners has higher hash rates, and that's why it's so high right now. But GPU mining, yeah, that's completely dead right now.
So I read an article. Geez, this has got to be 2 weeks back. There was a woman who is part of the Ethereum core development team that was trying to, I can't even think of, I shouldn't talk about this right now because basically I'm just going to say it was a bunch of random stuff. But it was effectively, she was trying, there was something in that I read in the article specifically that she was trying to get some code upgrade put into the newest Ethereum fork that does make it easier for GPU miners, which I thought was an interesting position.
Let's just look at this, okay? AMD, all right, is down. One of the biggest graphic cards manufacturers, GPU mining, graphical processing unit, down 17%. Now, if you're an AMD like I was, I've completely stopped out of AMD. This is a traditional stock. You could trade it. It's on the New York Stock Exchange. That is a huge hit. 17% is a huge hit. And, crypto volatility obviously is going to be a little bit bigger, but 17% nevertheless is a massive hit. We could consider that as a correction. And let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA in the past month is down 13%, which is the world's largest graphic card. And again, these...
They also kiboshed their... Like, they were working on building a miner, and they decided against it. NVIDIA.
Yeah. Exactly, and I don't. And what we've noticed is Moore's law has failed. Moore's law has completely failed. So remember what Moore's law is: you double the number of transistors? No.
It's like hardware to software, like the size of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You double the processing speed every 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. That has failed. I think what is it called? It starts with the T. Oh man, college is a long time ago. I think it's transistors, right?
Yeah.
These transistors have gotten so small that they're a couple of atoms thick. It's basically impossible to get them any smaller and to cram any more onto a chip. And it's getting almost concerning, especially with these more and more demand for higher and higher output in gaming and in processing and rendering any sort of video or any sort of graphical component and especially as mining dies down, GPU mining, like you said, dies down, we're going to see a huge pullback in that entire tech sector of processing units.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not invested in Intel, but I'm curious to see what Intel's at in the last couple of months here. Let's see. Intel is last 3 months, it's down 12%. These are pretty big hits. I definitely would not want to be in these, but they have run up drastically from 2017 to mid 2018. And I think this is just a correction, but still, if you're getting in any time, trying to catch that run, you've been hit really hard.
Yeah.
They want to know. No, Amal's in Texas. Snay and I are both in Los Angeles, and Britt is in Chicago. Cyber Kenobi. So just so you know, we're not all in the same place.
No, but Jason is in the other room, and I'm in the kitchen.
That's
so.
right. Snay and I are in the same building.
We are in the vicinity.
Amal's here. He's hiding behind me here. Look, there he is. There he is. Like somebody stole Amal. Well, guys, we're pushing. I think we're at the hour mark now. So, Britt, I don't want to tie up your whole afternoon. Is there anything else specifically you wanted to touch on, real quick?
Nah. Nah.
Cool. Fair enough, brother. Well, hey, man, appreciate you coming on. Definitely good information. That's. I know, Amal, I know you had some additional stuff you wanted to share before we fully wrap. So, Britt, feel free to stick around and get Amal's insight here. And then, of course, you're welcome to come back on anytime, man. This was fun. I've been really enjoying having the guests on, and everybody we met at that Litecoin Summit has been pretty insightful. Oh, FZJ80 wants to know, Britt, are you a Ledger or Trezor guy? The answer is you're a Monarch wallet guy.
No, I don't even want to say what I am, but I'm a Exodus guy, and I keep my passwords offline. So
smart.
That's the way to do it. If you keep your passwords offline, you shouldn't have any problems with anybody getting into your wallets.
I like it. Software solution. You heard it here first.
Yeah, buddy.
No hardware wallets. All right. All right. Yeah, take it away, Amal.
Cool.
I'm gonna jump you up to full screen here, and I will pull myself out of the way. Wait, did that work? Big Amal. Wait. Oh, now I've done it. Now I've got a big Snay only. What am I doing here? All right.
Let me hide my meth equipment.
Pull my stupid face out of here. And all right, Amal, you should be good, brother.
Okay, I will share my screen now. Let's see.
And guys, if you want to continue this discussion, there is a free link to our Discord. And if you're a Moon Lounge member, you get access to all the channels. Go to the description below and sign up, guys. I mean, we're always in there talking. We were up until 3-4 a.m. talking about Tether and looking at different opportunities. And I closed close to $2,000 yesterday, which was obviously pretty rare for that. Not all these things happen, but yeah.
Nice. Love it. I love to hear my boy's profitable. All right, guys, let's get to a quick analysis here. So I have the CME COT report. So Again, the COT report, guys, is Commitment of Traders Report. It's basically what the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the CBOE is supposed to report on their open, long, and short positions on Bitcoin. So here's their position orientation. Clearly, more shorts on the CME side, and I would not be surprised if the CBOE is short as well. Again, if you want to watch my video as per trying to explain why I think there's collusion between the futures traders and the traders on BitMEX and stuff, check out the YouTube videos that I have up. Okay. Again, now this is the CBOE COT report, heavily on the short side as well, and so is the CME. Okay. So again, this tells us that when it comes to futures traders, they're clearly leaning towards a bearish bias, and that's why they're shorting Bitcoin. Again, these are cash settled, so they're not actually even trading Bitcoin, but they are essentially betting that the price of Bitcoin will be lower in terms of their settlement price for the next contract than it is today. Okay, so
does that settlement happen at the end of the contract?
Yes, the settlement price happens on the expiration date, but you can close your contract essentially anytime you're profitable, right? So, for example, like if you think that your price has reached its target in terms of its short or long, you could just close it out before the expiration date.
Yeah, cool. So when's the next contract end?
I actually haven't checked this weekend. I was away this weekend, but I'll have to check that. I don't think it's anytime soon because I typically get alerts on my phone because I've signed up for the alerts. So this is my Swiss franc. By the way, in our Cryptosomniac channel, guys, I opened up a Forex channel as well. So I'm going to start talking about Forex more. Obviously this will not be investment advice, but I will show you guys how I put on trades and, what software I use for Forex trading. Let me get to Bitcoin here real quick. Awesome. Let me turn off these indicators here. This is all trash. We don't need it. By the way, something that you guys should start utilizing is this accumulation distribution indicator. Gives you a good idea of exactly, what kind of volume and price action is setting up. Whether it's accumulation, meaning that people are actually accumulating and acquiring Bitcoin, or is it distribution where, more Bitcoin is being sold off in the market, okay? And I will explain how to read those on my next session. But basically what I wanted to explain, in the simplest form is what happened yesterday, why it does not even, fucking matter, because it was essentially this implosion of Tether and potential bank run, which I actually believe that, this is the beginning symptoms of it. So if I were you, I would definitely seek out other options that Snake talked about, PAX being one of them, GUSD, TUSD being the other one. I know those best ones in terms of having options to buy other cryptos, but they are safer in my opinion. So, one thing I've mentioned many a times here is that we are currently in this OB, which is, the $7,800 all the way down to $5,500, and we're stuck in this range. And you can see this 200 moving average curling down right around 10.4, okay, 10.4K. So if we, start moving on up, right, the first level to watch is a previous high, which is probably around $7,400, which is also above 200 moving average. That is your first indication that we might turn bullish. It's not that we have turned bullish, that we might. At this level, we definitely have not. No matter what you think happened yesterday and what people are telling you on, crypto Twitter, that this is the last time, you're going to start seeing Bitcoin at 6,700 or 6,500, they're wrong. I mean, unless they have crystal balls or they have the ears of, those on Wall Street or Goldman Sachs, I definitely do not. So I don't think they do either. Okay.
I mean, look at that wick. That wick is crazy.
Yeah, and it's massive, man. And this is what happens when you realize that, there's something crazy about to happen in the market. And so people freak out and they panic and they make irrational decisions. And that's why you see something like this happen. But look at what happened after that. The price has, basically regressed back to its, almost its original price that we were at yesterday, right? We're not more than 4 or 5% off from where we were yesterday, correct? So, this is just false exuberance by those who don't know how to read markets, and they're just trying to tell you that, hey, Bitcoin is cheap, it's at 6,700, this is a good time to buy. But as I've told you guys before, I still do believe that the bottom of this OB needs to be tested, which is 5,500. And if that breaks, then my target of $3,500 to $4,500 will be secure. But basically what I'm trying to say is, if you are to look for the signs of a bull market, wait above, at least 7,900, which is the top of this OB, and we are definitely going to be bullish if we're going to be above 10.4K, right above here, where the 200 moving average curls down. All right, that's pretty much it.
Outstanding, great stuff as always, Amal. Important information and realistic. Always nice to hear. Like, so many people just want. I mean, it's very easy to want. I mean, I don't like coming on saying I think shit's gonna break down either. So it's very much, people get mad when you're not telling them what they want to hear, but sometimes telling them what they want to hear isn't what they need to hear. So always.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Well. Right on, guys. I guess then we will go ahead and wrap it from here. Britt, thank you so much for coming on, man. This was awesome. Like I said, welcome back anytime.
Thank you. And please, guys, visit my website, BritVRCrypto.com. All right?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks, Brett.
Be sure to check out his YouTube and stuff as well. So he's got.
Yeah, we'll actually add that in the description below.
Yeah.
BritVR.com.
Yeah,
so,
we'll put all the links in the description. So if you guys want to check out Britt, give me, as soon as we sign off, give me a few minutes, and I will get all of his links put in the description of this video down below. Oh, right. I guess I could put my stupid face back on the screen here. Down below. Yeah, so we'll put all his info down in the description down below. So if you guys want to check it out, please do so. I met a bunch of awesome people at this Litecoin Summit, a lot of educated opinions, so just been trying to bring some on, showcase them, and help spread the crypto word. So anyways, definitely check them out, guys.
Yeah, for sure. And, be sure to join the free Cryptosomniac trading community. And if you like it, feel free to join the Moon Lounge as well. And be sure to like and leave a comment below. Tell us what you think. And we're considering stripping the audio and actually making a podcast out of it as well. Considering this is pretty good information, we seem to be getting a lot of positive feedback from it. So I do appreciate everybody joining us here tonight. I know Jason does, and I do. So
absolutely.
Everybody here does. Yeah. So I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. This is what we do it for, and this is why we started doing these shows, just to help try to. It's one thing to be a talking head and for me to just jout my opinion all day, but it's nice to, I think, bring on other opinions and informed individuals and have a conversation. So.
Peace out, y'all.
Right on, guys.
All right, later,
Take it
guys.
easy. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm tired.